Frieza gazed at the vast cosmos through the window of his spaceship, a cruel smile adorning his lips. The power he now possessed was immeasurable, far surpassing his former limits. Frieza remembered his old obsession with immortality, the years he spent searching for the Dragon Balls, but now that seemed distant. After all, with such power, who needed eternal life? He was the very personification of destruction, and that in itself was a form of eternity. Satisfaction filled every fiber of his being, a dark contentment that rarely visited him. However, Frieza's perverse mind never remained stagnant. An insidious thought began to germinate, a memory of his father, King Cold. If Goku and his friends used the Dragon Balls for their own ends, why couldn't he have a similar advantage? But the idea of gathering the 7 spheres scattered throughout the universe was tedious and time-consuming. There was an alternative, a shortcut that his cunning mind quickly conceived. Hell. A shiver ran down his spine as he recalled that place. The noisy teddy bears, the tree, the cocoon, the incessant noise. It was a torture that seemed eternal. He had only been freed from there because of the Tournament of Power, an intervention by Goku that, ironically, granted him resurrection, giving him the opportunity to reach his black form. Frieza remembered that Goku had used the services of an old woman to access that world. He tried to recall her name, and then the memory surfaced. Fortuneteller Baba, that old mercenary. Frieza, with a comical tone in his mind, pondered. How could he find her? A brilliant idea worthy of his evil genius ignited in his mind. He raised the power of his black form to stratospheric levels, an aura of purple and black energy erupting from his body. The objective was clear, to attract Fortuneteller Baba's attention, and it worked. In the blink of an eye, Fortuneteller Baba materialized before him as if sprung from magic itself. Frieza bluntly declared his wish. I want to go back to hell. Fortuneteller Baba, with a mocking smile, asked why and began to taunt him. Frieza, irritated, ordered shut up and explained his plan to bring his father, King Cold, back to life. She, with the wisdom of someone who had seen everything, refused. I won't do that. King Cold would bring trouble. Frieza, anticipating the refusal, signaled to one of his subordinates, who promptly brought a briefcase. Upon opening it, gold bars gleamed, and Fortuneteller Baba's eyes gleamed with greed. Still, she hesitated. No. Frieza then used his final argument. He is weak and won't cause any trouble. After all, Goku has godlike powers, and King Cold was killed by Trunks with the power of a Super Saiyan 1. Fortuneteller Baba, after a moment of reflection and with the gleam of gold still in her eyes, accepted it. They then traveled to Hell. There they found King Cold trapped in the tree, just as his son had been one day. King Cold, upon seeing him, exclaimed, I thought you'd never return, my son. Frieza touched the cocoon and his father was freed. King Cold, with a glint of ambition in his eyes, declared, now let's do what we do best. Let's control and seize Zeno-Sama's throne for ourselves. The two laughed, a sound that echoed through the depths of hell, while Fortuneteller Baba, oblivious to the grandeur of their plans, held out her hand. My money! The scene then returned to Frieza's ship. Frieza proudly showed his new conquest to his father, his black form. King Cold, witnessing such power, fell to his knees, shocked. He asked, how did you achieve such power? Frieza explained that he had trained in a dimension where time passed differently. 10 years of intense training. Now he would take his father to the same place, for the Frieza race possessed an evolutionary power that no other race had. Frieza's smile widened, a mixture of satisfaction and malice. The sight of his father, the once imposing King Cold, prostrate before his power, was a spectacle he savored. It wasn't just his father's surprise, but the confirmation of his own superiority, a feeling he had always sought. The black form was not merely a transformation, it was the manifestation of his indomitable will, his ability to surpass limits that others considered insurmountable. It's the result of arduous training, father, Frieza began, his voice laden with a tone that mixed pride and a certain disdain for the ignorance of others. I found a dimension where time flows in a peculiar way. What for the outside universe were only a few days, for me were 10 years of discipline and constant improvement. The result is this form, Black Frieza. King Cold rose slowly, his eyes fixed on his son's imposing figure. Envy, a feeling he rarely experienced, was quickly supplanted by reluctant admiration and, more importantly, by renewed hope. If Frieza had achieved such power, perhaps there was a path for him as well. The Frieza race he knew possessed unparalleled evolutionary potential. 10 years, King Cold murmured, the word hanging in the air. A dimension where time is malleable, that's extraordinary, my son. And you say you can take me to this place, that I too can achieve this? Black form? Frieza nodded, a calculating glint in his eyes. He wasn't acting out of filial benevolence, but strategy. A King Cold in his black form would be an invaluable ally. Together, they would be unstoppable. Revenge against Goku and the Saiyans would only be the prelude to an era of absolute dominion. Indeed, Father, the dimension is at our disposal. The capacity for evolution is inherent to our race. You, with your experience, will surely surpass your limits. Together, we will be the most feared force in the universe. Zeno-Sama's throne, it will be ours. King Cold, feeling the rebirth of his old ambition, a fire he thought had been extinguished, moistened his lips. The prospect of limitless power, of revenge against those who humiliated him, was an irresistible call. He imagined the expression of terror on the faces of his enemies, the subjugation of entire galaxies. Take me there, my son, without delay. I want to feel that power. I want to see the universe bow before us once more. Zeno-Sama, he doesn't know what awaits him. Frieza, with a gesture of his hand, indicated to one of his soldiers to prepare the ship for the journey. The training dimension was a secret he guarded closely, a trump card that would now be shared with his father. He could already taste victory, the glory of an empire built on force and terror. Days passed, or perhaps weeks, in the distorted perception of time. King Cold, inside the training chamber, felt every fiber of his being twist and strengthen. Energy flowed through him, purifying his cells to levels he never imagined possible. The pain was intense, but the promise of power was a balm that propelled him forward. He visualized Frieza's black form, the dark and imposing aura, and knew he was on the right track. Frieza watched his father's progress through a monitor, a satisfied smile on his face. He knew King Cold was a formidable warrior, and that with proper training, he would become a force to be reckoned with. Patience was a virtue Frieza rarely possessed, but in this case, the investment would be worthwhile. He was already planning his next steps, the strategies to overthrow Zeno-Sama and take control of the multiverse. Finally, the moment arrived. An explosion of energy shook the training chamber. King Cold emerged, his figure now enveloped in a black and purple aura, his eyes gleaming with a malevolent intensity. The black form was his, and the power he felt was overwhelming. He clenched his fists, feeling the force pulse through his veins, a power that rivaled that of his son. It's magnificent, my son, King Cold exclaimed, his voice now deeper, more resonant. I feel the power flowing through me. This is the true potential of our race. Zeno-Sama, he won't stand a chance. Frieza approached, a smile of approval on his face. The sight of his father in his black form was confirmation that his plan was unfolding perfectly. The pair of tyrants, now at their peak, were ready to challenge the gods. The universe would tremble before their combined power. Guys, did you enjoy this epic story? Remember that this isn't over, it's just the beginning. So if you want to see the continuation, it's important to leave your like and subscribe to the channel. See you later!